It's all right. We can take as much time as we want. Just edit.
I guess.
Have fun with that later.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Okay, so today we've brought in resident feminist extraordinaire, Molly.
She's not really a resident because she lives so far in Virginia.
It's not that bad.
She's more the Texas.
You get used to it.
Yeah, she's more residenter than you.
I didn't claim to be no resident of no part.
Oh, okay. When Rameen and I did that video, when Rameen and I did that video about feminism and Lilith Fair, Molly's like, why was I not involved? So we're involving Molly now.
About a topic that I know next to nothing about.
But that'll make this more fun.
I do know a lot
anything
about
Lilith Fair?
I'm
just asking!
But I do know a lot about feminism. I do have some experience with being a woman. So...
So that's more than me. One of the things Rameen and I wanted to talk about was feminism in RPGs. Because if you look at Feminist Frequency, Anita Sarkeesian's videos on feminism in video games, she never really even touches on RPGs.
Pretty much all shooters.
Yeah.
It's all first-person shooters.
And platformers.
Yeah.
Like Mario. I'm talking too much. Okay. So when there's a chance for a lot of dialogue and real character development, and you have female characters, then we can discuss how feminism is in play or not in these.
And not even necessarily if feminism is quote-unquote fair, because I feel like that's a little difficult to evaluate, but maybe more just like...
As we discovered in the Lilith Fair video. Yeah. Another interesting thing about role-playing games is when it's one of the genres of gaming that has the highest female players.
Yeah.
The highest
because it's of the story,
yeah.
Right? Women are, well, I don't want to generalize, but I, as a woman, find myself compared to straight dudes that I know that play games. They're interested in, like, shooting stuff and the skill, and I'm like, I just want to hear the story.
Well, there's a lot of male fandom to this too, though.
Oh, I have no doubt.
No, and it's still mostly male, but it's...
That was horrible, so that was.
Yeah. What I thought our setup for all of these would be, so we talk about the characters, sort of describe them, and then show you a photo of what their concept art is.
Oh, nice.
So that you can sort of see how your expectations match.
Yeah.
And then
I've always said, always judge a book by its cover.
So the first Final Fantasy game with real character development is Final Fantasy IV. So Final Fantasy IV is one of the more traditional ones. It's
pretty much like traditional medieval with some technology added.
Yeah, and usually when technology is added in all of these games, it's usually like steampunk type technology.
Right.
The first female character you meet is Rosa. She's in her 20s. She's the love interest of the main character.
I prefer to call her Rosa.
You can do that. So she's a white mage, so she's the healer character. She's an archer.
And it should be noted that even before this, most of the time in a game, if there was a female character, she'd be the white mage. In other words, the nurse.
She's kind of an annoying character because she keeps on getting damseled pretty much repeatedly throughout the game. Like, he goes off on a quest...
Squeeze my hand when
He goes off on a quest without her, she chases after him and then gets sick, and they have to find something to save her, and then she gets kidnapped and they have to go rescue her, and it's just like, it repeatedly.
I know.
So here is her concept art.
She's pretty. The thing is, I mean, I look at this and I go like, yeah, so she's sexualized, but then I also, like, it's so unremarkable that she's sexualized that I don't even care. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the only thing, this isn't an excuse, but I will say that something to remember is she's not a traditional warrior in the fighting. She's not fighting, she's on the back
And
line.
she's not...
That doesn't make it okay.
She's a lot more covered than a lot of women in video games.
Yes, we will see worse.
Like, her tits are, like, almost like normal size human. Like, of a busty woman's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that her waist is.
No, her waist is a little off.
The second female character is Rydia.
I call her Rydia.
At the very beginning of the game, when you meet her, she's a little girl, and you show up at her village. As soon as you show up in the village, the package opens and it's this like magic fire that burns the village and everyone dies except for this one little girl. And then you also find out later that the monster you killed was her mother's monster, and when you kill the monster, the summoner also dies. So you killed her mother, and then everyone else
killed
in
the monster to get into the village, because her mother's monster was guarding the village.
Yeah.
So you're a fat
That was
bastard.
really bitchy of me.
Yeah. so
You killed Kylie Minogue's mother. And now she just can't get you out of her head.
But then partway through the game, you're on a ship. The ship gets attacked by another summon monster, and she falls off the ship and gets swallowed by this monster. And everyone thinks she's dead, and they're like, "What the fuck just happened? Like, this is awful. She's dead." And then a little bit later in the game, you're like surrounded by a whole bunch of bad guys, and you're not gonna be able to make your way out of it. And then she shows up, grown up,
Nice.
as a young adult woman, and saves everyone.
Oh,
But
cute.
it's not time enough yet for her to have grown up that much. She was in a place where time flows differently.
Yeah. So she like.
But anyway,
where she went, she was gone for like 10 years.
Right.
But in the real world, she was only gone for like a couple
I
months.
watched Doctor Who. I
Right.
get this.
Right.
And so yeah, at the end of the game, she ends up saving everybody's life, and she's like incredibly powerful when she comes back.
She is a black magic user and summoner, so she has attack magic instead of healing magic. We're not going to bother with her child concept art. We're going to just look at her adult concept art.
She has some legs.
You know what? She does have some legs.
She can crush a baby in
You
those
know what?
legs.
Sometimes when I go hiking, and I'm like hiking behind other women going uphill, and I look at their calves, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I had calves like that. That's what I think when I look at her. Her hair is kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if mine would look good like that. Her one boob is like a little weird, and then the other one doesn't seem to exist.
Yeah.
Maybe she had a mastectomy.
Maybe. And then
Was that super sexualized? What did you think?
Not any more than the other one, and I don't want to repeat what I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
which is that it's so common that you don't even
Right.
notice. I really don't.
I'm messing with my phone, but I promise I'm listening. I'm just deleting a bunch of crappy pictures.
of his dick.
Yes.
This game takes place in basically the same type of world in medieval steampunk again.
So the characters in this is that enough of a
Snapping
summary?
threateningly.
Reyna, warrior princess.
You know, what is the deal with princesses just generally? When it comes to this kind of thing, it's really just a word, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just this idea of like, okay, this person who is the daughter of the person in charge.
Yeah.
Why princesses? Like, why can't she be,
A duchess.
or just like some other way of being influential?
So
There
is.
to my rhetorical question.
Brief tangent.
That's it for the princess character. There's not this is her concept art. This one.
Ooh.
That's the main male character.
What I think is
I
interesting
wish
about
I could look at it more closely.
Yeah.
So it's two people
Yeah,
on
this
the
is-
yeah.
animal.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the thing that they're riding and not the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a chocobo!
That's a
I
chocobo.
remember chocobos.
The
But
black ones, yeah.
what I am also seeing is I'm seeing the chocobo, right? And then I'm seeing the first person, and then I didn't even realize that the other person, the chick that you were supposed to be asking me about right now, is even there. She just seems to be sort of blending into the background.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
it's
get to the
good
interesting
after
parts.
all.
Yeah.
I'm interrupting women on our feminism video. 2 strikes for me. Faris.
I always say Ferris.
She's the main interesting thing about her is she's a pirate, and also for part of the game.
Hell yes, pirates!
And also for part of the game, you think she's a man because she cross-dresses.
She's a cross-dressing
I love
pirate.
pirates. The very best kind of pirates are cross-dressing kind.
She is actually the pirate king. She's in charge of the pirates, and none of her men know that she's a woman.
I love her.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell that on the internet.
She's also Reyna's older sister.
But like they don't like they find that out way later. Like she's hiding it from everyone. She didn't want to be a princess. She ran away and becomes a pirate instead.
Who wouldn't?
Right?
And ends up
Who
being
hasn't been a pirate instead before? Here's her concept
Enough
art.
said.
Concept
Oh, yes!
Uh-huh.
Notice she bears a striking resemblance to Molly, and this is the first character
No,
who Molly is excited about.
but look at the black,
Uh-huh.
right? Like it's just immediately gothic to me. And then, which I just dig, like it's not a feminist thing, I just dig it. I like it to be sort of, and when I say gothic, I mean like in the sort of like, the sense of a gothic cathedral,
right, not
more than
like
like
not
a
emo goth.
gothic
Yeah.
emo teenager, yeah.
By Shadow.
Also, all the
I'm giving.
no.
Okay,
But also, she is kind of androgynous. She doesn't have tits, really.
But
right?
you know what? That some of the androgynous elements are also present, I think, interestingly enough, on the male villains in the series.
Yes.
But look at her. Her torso is like a thin man. She looks like she could be Ramin. Going like this,
Maybe I'm farted.
She doesn't have breasts, or at least,
They're probably
noticeable
caged.
ones. It's just this, like, sort of arching torso.
So she's a mezzo.
So she's a pants roll mezzo. She could be played by Joyce DiDonato.
Actually, she could. Look at her.
Yeah, right?
Also, I think it's interesting she's not wearing heels.
Also, everybody loves Joyce D.
Her boots have 0 heel.
Yeah, her boots don't have a heel on them. That is a good point. And they're also sexy as hell, but not in a, like,
Feminine way.
in a stripper way.
Yeah.
And her thighs look like they could crush you.
See, video games are awesome.
She's awesome.
Molly's ready to play
I would
Final
hang
Fantasy
out
V
with her.
now.
I would dress up as her for Halloween. You better get to work on that one, Bob.
So then the third one is like the youngest of the three women. She's the granddaughter of the secondary male character, and then he dies, and she takes all of his powers and like fights in his place. That's her.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, she.
I do think she's a little over-sexualized for her age.
She is a little over-sexualized, but she's also sort of like doing the like nature mom thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the communing with the butterfly or whatever that thing is.
Yeah, some sort of bird with a big tail feather.
Also, can we talk about how
But then
beautiful
again, that is
this
sort of
art
a
is?
fetishization in and of itself. So I don't know. But she's cute. I don't know.
Yeah.
She looks like she's doing it for herself and not for
Sisters
others.
doing it for themselves. All right, let's get to the next one. So Final Fantasy VI is actually considered one of the first like revolutionary RPGs. I gave that a gay neck roll.
Literally.
And it also has a huge roster, 14 characters, only 3 female characters, but there's some of the most interesting female characters, I think, in all of Final Fantasy.
And it's the only one in the main canon where the female characters are the main characters.
Right.
Okay.
There are 2 main characters. There's for the first 2/3 of the game, it's one character, and then for the last of the game, another character sort of takes over as the lead. And they're both women. And so the first one is Terra. When you first meet her in the game, she's basically brainwashed and being controlled by the bad guys.
Okay.
And then, like, for like a good, basically the first third of the game, she has no idea who she is, where she came from. But she is the only one who has this amazing magic power that she's born with it. She was raised by the bad guys. She was kidnapped as a baby. So
Anyway.
she's raised by him and basically used as sort of like a biological weapon because she is born with these magic powers, and she doesn't know why she has them. None of the other main characters know why. But a third of the way through the game, she transforms into this beast, this like glowing white-pink beast. And that has this immense, huge power. It turns out that she is only half human. She's half human, half Esper, which is this like magical creature that they can take human form. And so her father was an Esper, her mother was human. And it's sort of like a big like race thing because the Espers are hunted down and their powers are like sucked from them.
Ooh.
There are a lot of images of her in the concept art. Here's one of the concepts of her.
Oh, I like her leggings.
Remember, she's
I'll wear
18.
that.
She's 18.
Well,
I don't
that's
think
kind of how 18-year-olds dress
Yeah.
nowadays.
Kind of.
Well, and even in like, what, 93? This is 94?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Even then.
And this is pretty close to what her sprite looks like,
Yeah.
actually.
Actually, my only problem with that
think the
design,
cape-
I think that design's a little bit infantilizing for her age because of all the...
I don't know. I don't necessarily see it as... I honestly, I think it's fairly neutral. This looks like, when I say that it looks like people would wear, I'm only slightly joking.
Mm-hmm.
This looks
Yeah.
like streetwear. This looks like something you could see a girl walking down the street in if she was very, very, very fashion forward.
Mm-hmm. Maybe minus the cape.
I'm digging the boots.
Yeah, they are cool boots.
I'm digging the sword because I feel like everybody ought to carry a sword around. I don't find any, like, she's not nearly as, sexualized.
As
some of the others, yeah.
She doesn't have, she doesn't have
Well, the other
giant
interesting thing
tits.
about her, I don't think she has a love interest the entire game, right?
She almost does really briefly.
I love that. Like Katniss, who
she-
does but doesn't really.
Right.
Yeah, she almost does really briefly, but then he dies immediately after. And like she's like throughout the game, she's sort of trying to discover what love means to her.
Because she was brainwashed most of her life.
The love that she does find is more of a maternal love instead of a
For
romantic.
the orphans.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
you see this one a lot.
That's a really common one.
Yeah,
There's
that-
a lot of promotional material.
Does she have a face? Can't see
it's
it.
really
Maybe I need new
tiny.
glasses.
Yeah, it's really tiny in there.
But in most of the ones that are like that are like whole scenes, the artist doesn't really depict their faces.
That
very
looks
clearly
much
anyway.
more stylized. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
more like the idea of a person than a person.
I love that though. I love
I
this.
I like
yeah.
it too. Yeah.
Okay, this is her concept art when she is transformed into the beast thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
I love that it's pink but scary.
She's always depicted as being like wrapped in flame.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's so awesome.
The other main female character is Celeste, and it's kind of cheesy because they go for Terra and Celeste.
I always thought her name was
Yeah.
Cells because I thought it was a pun on.
But it is supposed to be Celeste because
Oh.
originally it was supposed to be Celeste, but they dropped the T. So
I think her name should have been Saline. Saline Dion.
She
She does sing.
she does actually.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
She grows up in the evil empire, joins the army for the evil empire, rises to the rank of general. She's their general, and then she sort of realizes how like underhanded
Fucked up,
and
yeah.
messed up everything is, and she starts to speak out against it, and then gets imprisoned and sentenced to death for treason, and she gets rescued, but
It
But-
does feel like if she's a woman and she's raising to the rank of general, it does feel like a lot of the sci-fi that you see where they sort of foresee that in this future culture there's going to be just equality among the sexes, and they're just like not even gonna. It doesn't even make any difference.
But part of the reason that Celeste rises to the rank of general is because as a baby, she was artificially imbued with magic, which was taken from one of these magic creatures, and they put it in her.
Okay.
She does have a love interest, and he's... but it's not like a really super sappy, lovey love interest. Like, they like don't trust each other for most of the game.
You've got mail.
Except on the brink of World War.
Everyone thinks she's a spy. There's actually like something that happens when you break into the evil empire at one point, and she like leads the way, and then she disappears, and they're like, oh, she's a spy. She led us into a trap. Like, you don't know what's going on with her. But then she like shows up later and saves everyone. And then in the last part of the game, she's the one who leads the charge to get the band back together.
Yeah,
Sounds
right.
like an interesting character. Like she's got.
Layers.
They need more opera singers in Final Fantasy. God.
No, I'm a general. I'm not an opera singer.
Oh, they're trying to make her sing?
Yeah, she actually
She does sing.
Is she better than the opera singer? Because it takes years of training.
So
Here, judge her.
here's her concept art.
Oh,
She may or may not
she looks
be.
like Katniss.
She is kind of a Katniss-ish character.
Yeah.
I love Katniss.
Although she's more of a turncoat.
Can we talk about feminism and Katniss? Because that's my favorite.
I love Katniss.
But she's still like, I'm not gonna sing. I'm gonna kill people. That's what I do.
Yeah, and commune with bird squirrels.
Squirrels.
with lizard tails.
Squirts.
I think this is the one that I really love, if I remember. Yes.
Oh.
Love this one. Her sword is dripping with blood.
Yeah, so none of these look like the sort of comic book video game thing that you think of, where
No.
they're just like giant tits and
Yeah.
ass and
There is
That's
fan-
coming up.
There,
That's
and,
coming up.
and there is fan art of that with all of these. Let's start with this game.
I like
Yeah.
that her sword is dripping some unknown
Final Fantasy-
substance.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy
She's
VII.
a badass. And like her like aside from her magical abilities, like by the end of the game, everyone gets magic powers. But
Look, and her boobs are shaped the way an actual woman's boobs are without a bra, which is kind of nice
Also,
to see in popular culture.
Her power is Rune, which is like one of those useful powers in the game. What does it do again?
it stops everyone from using magic. She can
Oh,
stop everyone's magic.
nice.
Yeah. And she actually absorbs it and like gets more like magic points, so she can cast magic after.
That's great.
She's really handy. She's
Yeah.
awesome.
And gorgeous.
Yeah, and she's gorgeous.
I would like my hair to do that.
I don't remember what this one is. Oh, that's another one. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I dig the harem pants. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Here's the opera scene.
Look at the conductor!